The following portion of Daytime Tri-Cities is sponsored by Evans & Evans Real Estate. Well, we are in studio today for our Real Estate Today, brought to you by Evans & Evans Real Estate. We've got a beautiful home in Piney Flats to show you. It is now on the market, but first this morning we want to talk about the seller's market, what we continue to see. And this morning we want to talk about making your offer stand out amongst the others. Here with more now is Realtor Karen Jenkins. And Karen, always fun to have you on the show.
Thank you so much. Fun to see you.
Yeah, so talking about what we're seeing, of course, in the market, and
Right.
I'm sure we still continue to see
We do.
less homes than we need.
So the first thing I want to say is if you watch the national media, you might be seeing these stories about real estate slowing down and the market's changing. And that is true nationally. Locally, that's not exactly the case. We've seen a slight slowdown because of the higher interest rates, and some of those buyers have been priced out of the market. But for the most part, we've still got more people moving to Tennessee than we have houses available. So if it's a good house, especially right in Johnson City, that's the hot spot. Kingsport is growing though, Greenville is growing. You're still going to see these multiple offer situations. And if you have that, you want to make your offer stand out. So definitely some things that you can do to make your offer stand out. So.
And we definitely see evidence too of more and more people. I think every time I go out to eat, I meet somebody else that just moved here from out of state, or you
Yes.
see it on the roads with the license plates. So
Yeah.
welcome
Yeah.
to the area. It's a
Yeah.
wonderful place to live,
It
as
certainly
secret's
is.
out. So yeah, when you are making an offer, of course, it seems like, well, you just put in the highest offer,
Right.
but that's really not the case. There's a lot of different components.
Right. So obviously, in most cases, the house is priced right. So you want to at least go asking price or over asking price. So some things that we do that keep you from paying too much is an escalation clause. So say the house is priced at $195. Maybe you make your offer for $195, but you say, you know, if somebody else bids $205, I'm willing to match that by $3,000. So you have an amount that you're willing to go over the next highest offer, but then you have a limit, because there was a situation where the agent forgot to put that limit and it ended up going like 200,000 over. It was insane. It was insane. But
That's
so
scary.
it's scary.
No, I'm out.
So what's the highest you're really willing to pay for this house? And then that's what you put as your top limit. But that way, if someone else does beat you, you don't want to get beat out by $1,000, $2,000.
Right.
So you say you're willing to go over by a certain amount, but you have a limit so that you're not going out of your price range, because you never, we don't want people to be regretting their decision to buy this house at a higher price.
Okay. Any other quick tips?
Yeah, so if you do go over that asking price, you always have to worry about the appraisal. If you're getting a bank loan, the bank is going to come in and do an appraisal, and they may say, I know you're willing to pay that much for this house, but we don't think that house is worth that. So in that situation, you might want to have an appraisal gap clause in your contract. That means, so say you made that offer for $205,000, and the bank says, nope, it's only worth $195. If you have a good size down payment, or you're willing to say, you know what, I'll bring more cash to the table to cover that gap that the bank has said it's worth less, then that way you get that. And that also gives the seller confidence, because the seller, I've been in situations where I've gotten a lot of multiple offers, but some are so high, you're like, that's not going to appraise for that. So if that buyer is willing to cover that gap, then you feel confident as the seller accepting that offer. And then there's, typical contingencies are inspection, and you can waive inspection. As a realtor, I don't like to do that, because we're seeing a lot of these situations where someone has waived an inspection, and then maybe a few months down their line, they're finding something that came up about that house that would have been brought up in an inspection. So that is a trick, but as a real estate agent, I always say get inspection. One thing you can do that we're seeing is bring that inspector with you when you first look at the house. That way, if something's glaring, that inspector can tell you right there before you even make the offer. And if you want to make an offer without inspection, you've at least had someone professional look at it.
Good advice.
Yeah.
All right, and you're going to stick around so we can see this.
We have
I'm
a cute
excited.
house coming up.
Beautiful.
I love it.
All right, well, here is Karen's information. If you have other questions about your offer, or you want to start looking at homes, or maybe you're thinking of listing, you can give her a call right there at the number on your screen. You can also find her at evansandevanstn.com. The preceding portion of Daytime Tri-Cities was sponsored by Evans & Evans Real Estate.